Hey, did the Cubs win last night? I gotta look. No, they lost. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Well, I was gonna say Cubbies win. No, they didn't win. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. Oh, that's Wrigley Field. Did I not say that? Sorry. Anyhow, welcome back. Today marks 2 years since that evil pit of hell, horrific attack by Hamas on Israel. More than 250 people abducted, roughly 1,200 others killed on that day. To give you a sense of just how large the attack was, and we said this at the top of the show, but I want to repeat it. Israel has a population of roughly 10 million people. America has 340 million. So we're 34 times larger than Israel, which means that if that type of attack had happened in America, that's like seeing over 40,000 Americans die in one day. That's what we're talking about here. As for peace talks between Israel and Hamas, they're slated to continue today. Reuters reporting that negotiations centered on key sticking points, like the timeline of releasing the hostages and Israel's timeline of withdrawal from Gaza. Israel reportedly wants a strategic buffer zone, and further withdrawal would hinge on Hamas meeting set conditions. Yeah, good luck with that. For more, let's bring in former Netanyahu advisor and senior contributing editor for JNS.org, Ruthie Blum. Ruthie, always great to see you. Sadly, here we are, October 7th, 2 years later. I'm curious to get your thoughts on where you are at today about that day. And also, are you surprised that this has gone on this long? I mean, it's not easy fighting a war with the world against you and one hand tied behind your back. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you, David. I'll tell you, you say it's a long war, and that's true because Israel's previous wars have lasted 3 weeks, or as we know, the Six-Day War lasted 6 days. We're not used to these lengthy wars, but I'll tell you why I'm not surprised. For two reasons. One is that every single war we've had with Gaza has ended without a real victory and with tunnels left in the strip and terrorists roaming around and killing Israelis. So this time we said, okay, enough is enough, especially after that satanic day on October 7th, 2 years ago, when it wasn't just people killed. Women were raped, babies were burned, men were beheaded. I can't even, to describe what went on that day would be too offensive to say on the air. That's how bad it was. And that's why the films of the atrocities that Hamas actually filmed proudly, only some people are capable of watching it. Many people faint and throw up afterwards, etc. Now, the reason it's gone on so long really is because of the hostages held in Gaza. And Israel, wants to be careful not to kill any of them. And unfortunately, we do have many of them were returned in deals over the past 2 years. And now there are 48 remaining ones. That's one thing, but mainly because Israel tries desperately not to kill what we call Gazan civilians. All right. Now, keep in mind that many of those civilians, I say with air quotes, participated in the massacre. And also many, they cheered when the hostages were brought into Gaza. They were beating them up as they came in on pickup trucks, etc. Nevertheless, Israel always behaves that way in war, warning civilians to move out of harm's way, send leaflets into Gaza, making phone calls to Gazans, and trying very hard to launch precision strikes on buildings and areas where the terrorists have infrastructure. But because of that, it's taken so long.
Ruthie, how many of the 48 remaining hostages do you think are alive? And what do you think is the tie-up? We should have had some resolution on this Sunday evening. We still have no resolution. What's your prediction? What's really happening behind the scenes in your most educated guess?
Right. Well, my most educated guess about the number of live hostages is based on what we're told, and that is that there are 20 live hostages and 28 dead ones. But the live ones, you see, are being starved and tortured. So it's hard to know really how long they're going to last. That's number one. Many of them are severely injured as well. And you have no idea. They weren't given medical treatment or anything. We know about one of them whose eye has shrapnel in it, and he's blind in that eye. We know that. And he may be by now blind in the other eye as well. Again, things like that. They're just horrific injuries. Now, you're right. At first, President Trump gave a deadline. He said, by Sunday at 6 p.m. But then he backtracked, and I don't blame him for this, okay? Because there has been no greater friend to Israel in the White House than President Trump ever. So this isn't even a criticism. But he does speak in bombastic terms. If you don't do this, all hell will break loose. He said that many times. And then he says something else. Now, in this case, what he did was give Hamas time to agree to the deal. Now, Hamas did not agree to it. It said it agreed, but then if you read how it agreed, it was actually not a yes, it was a no. But Trump did something clever. What he said was, okay, great, Hamas agreed, and now let's talk. And then Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, he was put in a funny position because he said, a few hours after President Trump said, Hamas agreed to the deal. Prime Minister Netanyahu, about 3 or 4 hours after that, he responded, and his response was brilliant. What he said was, yes, we trust that in President Trump's deal, and that Hamas, before we do anything, has to free those hostages, all of them. And that's how he responded by saying, yes, that was President Trump's condition. Now, whether I'm optimistic about it, Hamas is already saying, well, we don't know where all the dead bodies are and we'll do it. And the trouble is here, you see, is that to act like we're negotiating a peace deal, that's a mistake right there. With Hamas, you cannot negotiate peace with jihadists. And the fact that they even have any leverage at all is outrageous. And to further complicate matters, President Trump did a very brilliant thing. He got Qatar and Egypt and Turkey and all these countries to say, okay, we're done. Hamas has got to end this already and free the hostages. But here's the problem. Qatar and Turkey, for example, are pro-Hamas. And throughout this war, Qatar has been supporting and housing Hamas, and also at the same time serving as some kind of mediator with negotiations. So I'm not that optimistic. On the other hand, both Trump and Netanyahu assure us that any day now we're going to see hostages. And I'm praying that's true. And I'm praying that Hamas won't pull a stunt like, okay, here are 5 hostages, and then we'll see about the rest of them, that kind of thing, which could easily happen. They are terrorists and they are sadists.
And they are not to be trusted. Ruthie, we could continue this conversation for 20 more minutes because I have many, many more questions of you. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but I will say our prayers continue to be with you, your family members, and Israel as a state in general. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. Coming up, as the temperatures begin to drop, we get closer to flu season. So how effective are those flu shots that are always advertised? Can you get the flu from just taking the shot? Take a wild guess. We'll have the details on how to keep you healthy. It's next here on American Sunrise.